So for me, I'm like obviously Bron's my number one. So Bron and KD and Kobe are my three. Top three.
Bron, KD, Kobe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's KD's ability of being able to score anywhere literally on the court is with his size is insane. I see you don't like
it. Yo, that's crazy.
I want you to finish.
Bron, Kobe, Jordan.
Well, I mean, I didn't get to I didn't.
It's fine. We know you said you gave your preference 22 new school. All right, LeBron, KD, Kobe.
All right, so
Steph Curry.
Shit. Oh yeah, Curry.
Klay Thompson.
No, get out.
No.
Please don't say that.
He's splashing, bro.
Yeah. Damian Lillard.
Steph can be in the top 10, but Klay can't. Come on.
Shaq for sure.
Shaq, all right, that's 5. You got 5 more.
I'm not mad at that either.
LeBron, KD.
I'm not mad at the Shaq argument either because I think if you put Shaq and Bill Russell's shoes, the total amount of rings, what is it, 10? They probably get 10 with Shaq there instead of Bill. So,
I mean, he played against me,
right?
And 5 other teams.
That's what I mean.
Guys like me. So,
yeah.
I mean,
I don't like that argument either. You play,
but then you go back to the counter argument of like, well, they still did it. So
you play with whatever team's in front of you. I don't like. They can't just credit their
hard to hold that against them.
They beat the team. Like, no, they beat the team that was in front of them. You should have told the GMs to build a better team. You should
because you never know if they were presented with a more difficult opponent if they still wouldn't have beaten them too.
Right, like you should have built a better team. But go ahead, that's 5. Here's your last 5.
Giannis, Harden, Kyrie.
Ew.
I mean, that's what I was thinking on. I mean, after the past 2
Kyrie isn't the best 10 players ever to have played basketball.
Just what he could do with the ball. Nobody else can do it. Everybody else can do.
If you want to use that as the basis of your argument,
you got 2 more.
That's valid, but like
you got 2 more.
I just feel like there's so many other things that would outweigh that.
Come on, G, let him get through it. You got 2 more.
Go ahead.
Kyrie, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna trade Kyrie for Steve Nash.
Thank you.
You put Steve Nash, not Kyrie. Okay.
I'm a fan of Nash.
All right, so you got 2 more.
2 more?
Yeah, you got 2 more.
I'll put Ray Allen and then Joel. I mean, I don't.
That is Cam. I ain't bagging on you, bro. You're my boy, but that is a 22-year-old list. Okay, your age shows in that list.
I don't like speaking like I didn't.
Listen, let me tell you something. You guys got to stop discrediting the people that came before these guys because before these guys, the people that came before them, it would not be them if these guys never did what they did for the league. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson saved the damn league. Jordan kept the league afloat. The Pistons did their thing.
All I'm seeing is highlights, so I'm not gonna sit here and speak on them. I'm not gonna sit here and be like.
20 years from now, that's what the same argument people are gonna use from LeBron. He's not the GOAT because I only see highlights.
So hold on, wait. Let me see if I can quantify this a little bit. Right.
Make it fast.
Because I think about this a lot. No, so I understand like why Cam likes a lot of those players because of their basketball playing ability and what they can do, right? But that's one thing, but you have to give credit towards like the job that the other players did, like in the older eras. Like they did a very good job. So when you compare like how good of a job is Kyrie doing in his career versus Magic did over his career, like okay, maybe Kyrie is more talented with the ball and he could do more things. So that's why I understand that part of the argument, but I just don't think that that outweighs how well of a job Magic did against opponents during his time. Like he
went up against the
was
best player in the
marginally
league.
dominant compared to the opponents that were presented to him, way more so than Kyrie has been. So even if I take into account like Kyrie can do more with the ball, it's not enough to diminish what Magic's bringing to the table in this argument in terms of like how well of a job he did in defeating his opponents. If you want to look at it like that.
No, I agree with that. I just, me personally, like I know Larry Bird
list of players I've seen
is a fool. Larry Bird dropped 49 points with his left hand because he was bored. I mean, you don't have nobody doing that. What ruined his career is he barely came off his toes and it messed up his lower back. I mean, I'm knowing that. It's just I'm taking into consideration of people I've seen with my own eyes and that I can bring an argument to the table because
I've seen Larry
I didn't just watch
with my
stats.
own eyes.
Well, listen like this. Like Larry and KD were basically like, Larry was the KD of his time and KD is the Larry of our time, right? In terms of like what they look like. In terms of what they look like in one game, right? But then, and you could even say like KD's skills are a little more refined. Fine, okay. But what Larry did in terms of a competitive nature and competition wise, he trumps what KD is doing, in my opinion.
Everybody that had to play that Hall of Fame team in the Lakers right now, we know Larry Bird had Hall of Famers on his team, but the whole Lakers team were Hall of Famers, bro. The whole team. That's why they got 5, bro. Man, those guys were those guys, all right, for a reason. But Bird was still doing his thing. He was considered the best player in the league at that time. 3 straight MVPs back to back. And he could have went back to back some more. All right, that's how talented that guy was. And yeah, he had a lot of things that, hindered him in injuries. He broke his finger early in his career, which he could never feel the ball the same. That's why he did stuff like shoot with his left hand when he was bored. He was very, very talented. And I think he doesn't get enough credit for what him and Magic did to save the NBA back in that time, because without those two having that rivalry, that Celtics-Lakers rivalry, we wouldn't have an NBA today. We wouldn't have LeBron, KD, Kobe, Shaq. We would never seen the likes of these guys.
And then I look at Bird's more of an alpha dog than KD. Like he's like he had that killer mentality too. Like if you put him in a cage to fight to the death, like Bird is gonna
come
completely
out.
It's completely two different times of basketball though.
Right, but you can't discredit that time because we see this time, and I think that's the problem in today is we look through the lens. And I just said this to a guy, I commented to him. I said the problem is we look at the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and the early 2000s. We look at it through the lens of 2022, and you can't do that. You can't look at the game of basketball then and from the lens of today and like, oh, look at all this stuff that these guys are doing today, but these guys back then couldn't do it. We had this conversation early and, us starting this podcast with, Pete, and he was like, oh, if you put me back in the 60s, I'm a shit on all of them. I'm like, no, but if you go back to the 60s with their moves, are you shitting on them? No, you're not, because that's their time. So my thing is like, I dislike that, oh, it's two different types of basketball, but respect the basketball for what it is.
It's not that you can't do it. You just have to do it with a little.
Okay, you was in that conversation. You was getting your ass kicked by Wilt too. Go ahead.
I'm saying
what I meant by that.
You just have to take into consideration what you're doing. Like, so you
can't
do it.
That.
You can do it. You just can't overdo it. Is what I'm saying.
No, I understand. Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah,
that was from early 2000s back was bully ball. That's what it was. I mean, you got the Bad Boys, Pistons. You got stuff that have Malice in the Palace, stuff like that. When you actually had
Stewart chasing LeBron, like it's no
wait,
different.
Cam, wait,
no different.
Wait.
Isaiah Stewart chasing LeBron. It's no different. It was Malice in the Palace 1.0.
Cam,
what I'm saying now is I'm talking about basketball now is soft.